Hi, everybody. I'm Romy. This is Mark. This is our weekly team sizzle. We call it sizzle. It's actually just a team training. What I love the most about our weekly sizzles is just us being able to get together and hang out for a little bit and just kind of share a little bit of what each of us know and get to know each other a little bit. Tonight we have Amber Croft, and is that how you say your last name?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've never listened or had the opportunity to learn from Amber, you are in for a treat. Every time I listen to her, it's very calming to me. I always get something out of it. She is an amazing, amazing teacher. Amber is actually a Blue Diamond in doTERRA. She's on another team, so she's cross team. So that's one of the things that I think is really cool and important is for everybody to see the importance of building those cross-team relationships. So in doing that, I ended up with a good friend and somebody that's going to be able to teach you guys all of the good stuff that she has. She's been for a long time, and so she has business building experience way more than me. She just has doTERRA experience. So I'm super excited and very grateful that you're with us tonight, Amber. So I'll let you take it away.
Oh, thank you, Romy. I am privileged to even be here because Romy is one of my favorite people on earth, and I feel the same way about Romy. I get excited to learn from her. I learned so much from Romy and from all of you guys, and it's just fun to be here. And it's fun because Romy and I have both built our businesses differently, and so I think that's one of the reasons we get along so well is because we have so much to learn from each other, and plus she's just awesome. So anyway, I'm super excited. Thank you for having me here. I have a PowerPoint and everything, a PowerPoint that Kenzie created for me for another training. I don't create my own PowerPoint, so don't think you need PowerPoint.
You'll get the applause tonight.
Oh, we forgot to applaud her. Oh.
Another thing Romy and I have in common is Kenzie, and thank the Lord for Kenzie. I don't know what I'd do without her. So am I good to share my screen? Yeah. Maybe, hold on. Can you see my screen? Are we good, Kens? Okay. Okay, are we still on the right page? Okay, good. Okay, I got the thumbs up from Ken, so we must be good to go. So Romy asked me to share with you guys tonight some tips on how to teach a class. And I know there are a million different ways that you can teach a class, so I just want to share with you some tips that might help you. Like Romy said, I'm on a different leg. I'm actually on Rhonda Ford's leg, so I'm still on the Truman team. When I began doTERRA, my doTERRA journey started about 7.5 years ago, so kind of a while ago. And when I first was introduced to doTERRA, I didn't know I was going to build a business, first of all. But then I had some really great magical experiences, like all of you, I'm sure, and I couldn't stop sharing with my friends. But there wasn't really anyone near me building a business, and we weren't online yet. We didn't have a Modern Essentials book yet. There were a lot of things that we didn't have yet. And so I was blessed enough to be able to just drive all over Utah to any events that were, 3 to 6 to 8 hours away from me to learn as much as I could then. And so because we didn't have tear pads or anything like that, we really were making up our own classes. And I have loved and learned all along the way. I'm big about no excuses. And one of the reasons for that is because I didn't have a specific upline training me. And so I know that you can do this business no matter what. All you have to do is want to. And it's made very, very simple for us these days with tear pads and things like that. So I want to just share with you some really simple ways that you can use to teach a class without having to have a tear pad or, without a lot of extras. And just know that I have gotten, so everything that I use in my classes, I've pulled from all different leaders from doTERRA. So I think it's really important to pull what resonates with you from those you're learning from, because clearly we can't, we don't duplicate people. I think Callie Kinney shared one time that we can all make the same cake recipe, but it might turn out a little bit differently everywhere else, in every home, because we're all a little bit different. So keep that in mind and make sure that you're tapering this class to you and your own personality. But I've learned some tips along the way that have really helped me with my hangups and things that I wasn't doing well in the beginning. So I'm hoping that maybe some of these things will help some of you guys. So I'm just going to share with you really quickly. This is my cute little family. This was a couple years ago. So now they are all taller than me. And we all do this full time. We have my husband, we were blessed to bring my husband home about 5 years ago when I was doing Diamond Club. And so Joe and I, we get to build doTERRA together, and we get to build our family together. And it's just been a really great thing for us. This is my hometown. This is where I live. So one of the things that I hear often, the reason I'm sharing this picture with you, this is actually out my front door. This is across the street from me. My backyard looks about the same, except it doesn't have that cute barn. But one of the things I hear about all the time is it's too saturated, or I just don't know enough people, or I live in a small town, or there's a million excuses. So I put this picture up there because my town literally has about 300 people, and that probably includes their animals and their children. There are not 300 homes in my town, so maybe 100. So just know that you can build this business anywhere, and know also that I did not build online. I can count the number of people on one hand that I enrolled that I met online, or that I worked with online. So just know that you can do this no matter what. And because there are so many great skills or great options and opportunities to build online, the world is endless, right? There are people everywhere. So just know that if I can do this in this little tiny town, you can totally do it too. Okay, so this cute lady reminds me of when I very first was enrolled in doTERRA. I started going to some classes, and the classes I went to, I'm not going to lie, for 6 months, I went to these classes and I bought oils, and I just ordered them from the girl that was teaching the class. She never even told us how to get an account, or that we could get an account. It was like the taboo thing, right? We don't talk about the business. We don't talk about network marketing. We don't tell anybody, everybody's welcome to this oil class. So we won't talk about doTERRA specific. We're just going to talk about oils, but this is what we use. So that was the environment that I went into when I first started learning about essential oils. So that's one of the reasons I really didn't know a lot about the company. But because of that, I went into like a 6 month, she was doing emergency preparedness classes. And when that was over, she was done. She wasn't teaching any more classes. And at that point, I was bringing people to her classes because they were so awesome. And so I just kind of went, what am I going to do? Like, how are these people still going to learn? How am I still going to learn? And she said, well, why don't you just teach classes? Because you have 15 years of oil experience, and I just started 6 months ago. I have like 6 oils. That was my why. Like, I can't do this. And she's like, you know what? Just study about them and you can teach them. So that was how I started out. Is I just started, I got a couple of books, other books than Modern Essentials book, and I started learning about essential oils, and I would just teach about 1 oil per class. But because of that, I kind of had some hangups about, telling people how to get a membership, things like that. So these are some things that I learned along the way. And this is just one of my favorite little things favorite little quotes is how different our lives are when we really know what is deeply important to us. And keeping that in mind, we manage ourselves each day to be and do what really matters most. So I think it's important to know why you want to teach these classes, right? You want to teach these classes because these oils are magic and they make a huge difference in every single person's lives that try them. And that's why we're there. So if we are holding back on what we're presenting to them in any way, whether it be how to get their membership or how to share with people or anything like that, if we're holding back on that, or even not teaching a class because we're afraid of that judgment, then we are holding back on really making a difference. So I think it's really important to remember to do this business on purpose from the beginning. And that was one thing that I did not do. And when I shifted into building my business on purpose, more magic happened than I can even explain for you. Well, you kind of know, like my husband's here, right? My husband's home with me all the time. It's great. So let's start out at the very beginning with ensuring a strong attendance. I love the 3 contact method, and you may know about this already. The first contact is going to be the invitation, and the second contact is the follow-up invitation, and then the third contact will be the day before call or text. So here's what the first contact looks like. And this says 1 week before the class, but I'm going to tell you, or 2 weeks before the class, but I'm going to tell you I've done classes where I booked it today and we did it next week. So that's totally fine. I kind of like it that way because it doesn't give them time to back out. I'm all about, let's just get this class done, right? You don't need a ton of time, but you do want at least a week when you're going to book that class. Now, I ask them to just invite everybody that they know. And there's a couple of different ways that you're going to do this class. If you are helping a brand new builder, they're going to be more aggressive with their inviting. So when I say invite guests from the list of 100, if they are not wanting to build the business right now, like maybe they just barely enrolled, or maybe they are just a friend who's willing to host a class for you and bring their contacts in so that they can help you to build your business, right? They clearly are probably not going to invite a list of 100. And if you ask them to, they might just not do the class at all because that's overwhelming. So just know your audience, be really sensitive to who your audience is. I always, like the rule of thumb is 10% of the people that you invite are probably going to show up. It's kind of like email. So if they're inviting 10 people, they might get 1. If they invite, and sometimes that percentage I should say is 10 to 50%. It just kind of depends on how their contacts go, how their inviting process goes. So they're going to invite as many people as they can think of. And then they are going to invite as many of them in person as they can. I have this little love-hate relationship with Facebook events. I love Facebook events because it's great for the people that are on Facebook. I'm not one of those people that is on Facebook all the time. I have to think about it and be on there. Like if I'm home, then I'm on Facebook. But not everyone is on Facebook. So a Facebook invitation all by itself, I'm telling you right now, to those that, maybe the 50% that aren't on Facebook or that are maybe reading their emails, or maybe they don't even read their emails, they just get their mail outside. We just have to know our audiences, and a lot of those invitations get lost and they never even are seen. So here's the deal. You can do a Facebook invitation, but you have to follow that up with a personal invitation of some sort. So still do that Facebook invite, but don't make that your only invitation to them because they may not see it, okay? So invite them in person, and I literally would drop those invitations off at the door if you can, if you live in a community where you can do that. If this is an online class, I would suggest at least personal message each of those people that you're even inviting to your Facebook event or to your Zoom class or whatever it is. Just reach out in person somehow to them. So even if you mail them an invitation, you're going to follow that up with a contact. Hey, I sent you this invitation. This is what it is. I want to make sure that you know what this invitation is for. I'm having this really great class. Because think about when you were brand new to essential oils, you didn't know what they were. And if you would have gotten an invitation with no explanation, right? So an essential oil class, my first invitation I got to an essential oil class, I had already tried an essential oil from the health food store and it didn't work. So I was like, no, thank you. And had she not called me and said, hey, you need to come to this class. We're going to learn how to make lotion. I'm like, oh, well, I want to learn how to make lotion. So that was the only reason I went to the class. It was not for the essential oils. It was for the total DIY thing in me. So just know that we've got to reach out and just let them know it's a personal thing so that they'll be more likely to come. We're going to, oh, I already said this, by mail or leave them at the door. And then Facebook is not always the best, but it can work. And then I think it's really important. So one of my favorite things to use is the Class in a Box kit. And I don't know how many of you guys have used Class in a Box before, but I think it's such a great tool because it has everything you need in it to teach a class. One of my favorite things about the Class in a Box kit is the little 5 milliliter bottles of Wild Range. And there's a lot of different ways you can use those. A lot of people think that once they buy that kit, they only can do a class full of 10 people, right? Because they only have 10 5 milliliter bottles of Wild Range. Be creative with that because you don't have to use those the way it was intended for, right? It's just a bonus in your box. I love to give that 10 pack or make samples out of those 5 milliliter Wild Ranges, just break them down into like 10 drops and take those around with the invitations. Because people that have an essential oil experience before they come to the class are much more likely to purchase at the event than if they haven't ever had an experience, right? So the quicker you can get oils into their hands, the better off you're going to be. And then you can do a drawing or a giveaway at the class with a 5 milliliter Wild Range that you have left over for everybody that's in attendance. So you can still utilize those 5 mils, but I think it's a really great way to break those up. There's about 75 drops in a 5 milliliter bottle. That's 7 samples at least. You can even do less drops if you want. You can put 5 drops in it and get even more out of them. So just be creative and utilize those tools that are there for you. So then the second contact is going to be at least 1 week before the class. If you are doing this a 1 week, your class is a week out, you're going to do 2 of these contacts together. So you're going to deliver that invitation and then you're going to follow up right away with them, making sure that they have a sample. You're going to call or text the people that you gave the invitations to. Hey, just want to make sure that you got this invitation, that you know what it is. The samples. Tell me your experience with the sample I gave you. Have you even had a chance to open the bottle yet? Just checking in with them. I left an invitation at the door. I just want to make sure you got that. So you're just following up with them to make sure that you have that information. Okay, this third contact is the most important contact. So if you only do the first and the third one, those are the 2 most important things. And this one is the day before the class, or you can do it the morning of, but I really like the night before or the morning of. The sooner you can get this out, the better. And this is the reminder call or text that is not mentioning reminder at all, okay? No one loves to be reminded about anything because usually if we're being reminded, it's like, oh man, I forgot to do that. I have to be reminded now. So this is the just letting you know call or text. And this is a really fun one because I love to give stuff away. So I always tell my hostesses or my wellness advocates, when I'm hosting the class forum or when I'm teaching the class forum, I'm like, you know what, just call and let them know or text them to let them know that everyone that comes is going to get a free gift. Or if you bring a friend, you're going to get a free gift. Or if you are on time, we're going to do an on-time drawing of something really cool. And so you want to be there. So it is a reminder message, but it's a, hey, I just want to let you know. So you're talking to them as if they are already planning to come. I think language is really, really important when we are communicating in our classes. You'll hear me talk about that a lot through this little webinar, but language is important. So I just want to let you know, everyone's going to go home with a free sample. Whatever it is that you are offering them, just letting them know, okay? Keep that one in mind. There's a special this month, so you don't even have to be giving them something free. But this last outcome, or this last contact can determine the entire outcome of your class. So that's why I think this one is so, so important, is because I'll tell you, I've been all over the country and I don't know how many classes I've shown up to, and one person came because they did a Facebook invitation to everybody. They didn't do any follow-up with the invitations, and one person comes, and I like flew to Texas or drove to Nebraska, or, so I have some requirements if I'm going to travel out there now, where they have to, follow these steps. And when they follow these steps, it always happens. So the next really important thing about a class is how to close the class. This is one of the questions I get asked all the time. And I know I haven't even started the class for it yet, right? So here's the thing is I heard, I think it was Justin Harrison said one time in a presentation that we don't want to close anything. We don't want to close the class. We are trying to open these people to new possibilities and new ways of thinking. So we need to think about that as opening the class. So once I shifted that for myself, that took all the pressure of closing the class out. And I didn't have to worry about it anymore. It totally took all the pressure off of it. I think one of the biggest things that happens is all of us have been invited to events, right? And we go to our friend's party expecting to need to purchase something. Like that's what we go for. We know they're having a Tupperware party, I'm gonna have to buy something. They're having a Pampered Chef party, I'm gonna have to buy something to support my friend. So they come into this one and they don't know what to expect. And a lot of times people will wait around until the end to give them the price sheets and talk about the enrollment. And so that whole time, they're completely closed off because they don't know what's coming next. They're waiting for the ball to drop, right? Like, how much is this going to cost me? So one of the things that I shifted into doing is I started opening my class with everything that they're going to need and talking about the end stuff at the beginning. And I'll kind of go through it with you really quickly so that it's simple for you. But I do it really quickly at the beginning, and then I give them the good stuff at the end, right? Here's the deal. When they come to a class, it's important. There's a few things that are really, really important. Number one, you absolutely respect their time. There is nothing more frustrating than being a busy person, right? And taking time out of your day to go and support your friend, and then it's a 3-hour process. You don't have time for that 3 hours. So number one, you're going to respect their time. You're going to start on time, and you're going to keep your class to 45 minutes. Do not talk more than 45 minutes. If you've stood up there for 45 minutes, it is time for you to stop talking and sit down. It's just too much. You have 7 minutes. Your very first 7 minutes is when they decide if they even trust you and if they're going to purchase from you or not. So once you understand that, okay, I've got 7 minutes, right? I've got 7 minutes to gain these people's trust and to teach them something that they're going to remember about, and then they're going to want to purchase it at the end. Once you think about it that way, if you go over an hour, you've lost them. They start leaving, and then number one, you didn't enroll them. Number two, they don't purchase anything because they take the little catalog home and they're like, yeah, I'll call her tomorrow, and they don't, right? They become uninterested because they lost out on their time. Now, this is different when you're doing like continuing education classes. Those people, they want to be there and they want to soak up as much as you've got. I'm totally talking about a brand new beginning class where these are people that most likely their first experience with essential oils was when you dropped off the invitation and the wild orange at their door. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I love the Class in a Box because it has so many great tools. So this is one of the tools in the Class in the Box. This would take the place of like your tear pad. In the back office, you can purchase these all by themselves as a 10-pack. It's called the Class in a Box brochure. It comes in a 10-pack and it's only $2.50. And here's the great part about this whole packet. In the olden days, I was putting packets together for everybody and I'd hand them 10 handouts before they'd leave the class. Now I just have to give them this one thing. And this one thing has, it has the tear pack, so it's basically everything we're going to go over at the class. it's going to it has a price sheet on it. It has a wholesale, what is it called? Well, it's got all of your membership pages on here, right? So you can look at your membership kits. And then it's got, the wholesale customer. Sorry, I couldn't remember what it was called. Wholesale customer, and then just the regular wellness advocate forms on here. So everything that you need for the class is right here. And here's what's great about this. When I give them to this at the very beginning of the class, here's kind of how the beginning of my class goes. Everybody comes in. I kind of do a little, hey, how are you? It's super exciting to get to meet you. I meet everybody. I have them introduce themselves or whatever. Always have the host of the class introduce you because it gives you credibility. Usually with the classes that I teach, a lot are for a brand new wellness advocate, and I go and teach those classes for them. It's their first class because they're inviting all of their close friends and family. And I don't know if you guys know this, but our close friends and family do not think that we are essential oil experts when we just signed up last week. So I could have signed up 2 weeks ago, and I'm still a better expert than my friend Kenzie that signed up yesterday, right? in the family's eyes, like they have no idea. So in fact, my mom still questions if I know, right? It's just a family thing. So if they are introducing you, they give you credibility, and then you turn right around and give them credibility back. You talk about how much they have learned in just the last week or 2 weeks or 3 months that they've been enrolled, and how much knowledge they have and how great they are with their essential oils, so that their family is then learning to trust them with the essential oil questions as well, right? So that's important. And then after we've kind of done all of that, I always say, oh my gosh, I forgot to give you guys your handout. I do it every time, just like that. If I give it to them before, sometimes I forget to explain it. So that's why I do that. It's just, it helps me to remember, oh my gosh, now let me tell you what this is for. Let me tell you what's in here. And I totally say, now this first page is just going to be everything that we're going to talk about tonight. So if you need to go home and talk to a spouse about this, you have everything, you have all that information right here on this front page. The next page, this is the price sheet. I cannot tell you what a difference it makes to hand out the price sheet at the very beginning of the class. Because what did I do? I just took away that whole, how much is this going to cost me thing. And then what I tell them about the price sheet is, this is, it's an order form and it's a price sheet. I want you to use it tonight like a wish list. So if you'll just, as we're talking about different oils, we're going to talk about a lot of them, and you're going to have some that you really love and you're really excited about. And when that one pops for you, I want you to just make a little mark on your paper. You don't even have to turn this into me tonight if you don't want to. This is just going to help you so that when we get to the end of the class and you are trying to figure out which package is going to best fit you, I'm going to be able to help you a little bit better. Because for sure, you're going to be saying, well, you were talking about this one oil and I can't remember what it was, and we're both going to spend all that time figuring it out. So if you can just mark it on your paper, that's going to help both of us. So I want to point out a few things that I just did right there. Okay. Number one, I gave them all the prices and I told them about that. Oh, and I also tell them that to pay attention to the wholesale and retail prices on there, because we're going to talk about how they can get their own package or their own membership at the very end to get those wholesale pricing, to get that best pricing. So I just told them about the pricing, about the wholesale membership really quickly, and I have them already start filling out that paper. And if you notice, I said, when we get to the end of the class, you are going to want to purchase, right? I already assume that they're going to want to purchase, not if you want to purchase, not, maybe, but you are going to want to purchase these. And so this is already getting you started. So that is just a little tip that I learned that really helped me with my own hang-ups about asking for the sale, right? You're just asking for it right from the very beginning. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them on the next page are some membership packages. These already include the membership. The membership's only $35 anyway, but these ones include some stuff. So if you think you might want to just get it all at once, this is a great way to get started, any of those packages. And then there's even a membership form if you want to start filling that out. If you're already committed, go ahead, you can fill that out at any time during the class. So that's all I say about the membership at the very beginning. But I just feel like it's really important. I can't tell you how that shifted my enrollments, my personal enrollments, and my Wellness Advocates enrollments when I started doing that. It just changed everything for me, and it took a lot of my own hangups away. So that's one of my favorite little tips. Okay, the next thing, and you guys have probably heard this before because I know you're all on Boyd's team, but this was a big aha moment for me too, is in that first 7 minutes, we have a chance to talk to them about loyalty rewards. I don't talk about loyalty rewards in the very beginning, but I teach them in a little bit different way. So in that 7 minutes, when we're trying to teach them what to purchase or what about essential oils, I start out with this. I start out with talking about nutrition and the wellness pyramid, the doTERRA wellness pyramid, and lifelong vitality. Lifelong vitality is the first thing I talk about before I ever even say what an essential oil is. I know you're all here to talk about essential oils tonight and to learn more about essential oils, but this is all based on a wellness pyramid, and we need to focus on the important things first, and nutrition is the foundation of that. So I only spend a couple minutes on, not even a couple minutes, but just a really quick, probably like what I just said, on lifelong vitality. I ask then if anyone has ever tried lifelong vitality, and if they have, they tell the story, and I don't have to worry about it, and I don't have to give all the science or anything. It's just, oh my gosh, these changed my life. I have so much more energy. I have less pain. I have, and if they haven't, if no one there has used lifelong vitality yet, then I share my story about those same things. What that does is that puts something in their head right from the very beginning that they're going to want to put on a loyalty rewards order to purchase monthly. What really builds our business is retention, right? Loyalty rewards. If they are just purchasing a bunch of oils and they're not learning how to use them, they don't have any reason to keep purchasing next month, right? Sometimes they feel like even just buying the family, what's it called now, wellness kit, is a little bit overwhelming with all of those 10 oils that they now have to figure out. And so they're not ready yet maybe to do a loyalty rewards order or something like that. So I've just found that starting them off with lifelong vitality, I promise you half of the class will purchase the lifelong vitality that night. And another thing this did for me is it took I used to be like, I rocked those family physician kits, man. I could enroll anybody with a family physician kit because that was my money mindset, was that even the $150 was expensive because that's where I was at the time. Well, once I broke through that and shifted into this other direction, the Natural Solutions kit became my #1 selling package. And I really believe the reason is because, well, number one, I shifted my mindset, but because the lifelong vitality is part of it. And then so many of the other products that I talk about. This is my very favorite quote ever, and it was said by Kenzie. You notice how she didn't even put her name on the quote, but it's, we are promoting a wellness lifestyle, and you don't get wellness with a one-time purchase. It's a monthly lifestyle choice. So be sure that you're telling them about lifelong vitality. This will really help them to change their lifestyle. Okay, so word choices in your class are really, really, really important, I feel like. And it can change the whole tone of your class. So there are some words that I never, ever say in a class. You've heard me say them tonight on the call, but I don't say them in classes with unless it's a business training. I just don't say them. So these are the doTERRA vocabulary words you're going to take out of your classes, okay? Enroll is one of them. People get nervous about enroll. What am I enrolling in? Sign up, that's another one. What am I signing up for, right? instead of enrolling and sign up, I use the term membership. And I talk about membership fee is $35 or it's waived if you purchase a package. Kit is another word that I don't say in a class. I don't call them kits. Even with the family physician kit, I would always get caught up and call it, and I would always stop myself and call it a family physician package, because I feel like kit sounds like I just bought a kit to be the Tupperware lady, right? But a package sounds like I'm getting a great value for my money. And so so package is the word that you're going to use when you're talking about any of our great membership packages. And membership is your other word that you're going to use. You're not going to use a consultant. We don't say consultant, right? We just don't want them to feel like the business isn't for everybody, and the people that it is for is totally fine. We'll absolutely use those words with them. But we're talking consumers right now, and it's their first day. So let's treat them like consumers. If you go to the mall and they all of a sudden want you to sign up for something, you're like, I don't need that one more points card, right? So just keep those things in mind. Because words are really, really powerful. So I use words like membership. I use words like self-reliance. This is a great way to create self-reliance. I have a membership so that I can be self-reliant and purchase my own oils every single month. I earn free product. We have many great packages and values, right? Value is another great word that you can say in the class that will help you and that will help them to feel at ease. Okay, so the next thing that I do in my class is when we're all done talking about the essential oils. So there's a few different ways you can, there's a ton of different tear pads out there, so you can teach on any subject. We've done classes on just lemon, lavender, and peppermint before. We've done classes on just one essential oil like basil before. We've done emergency preparedness. I have a huge list of different classes that you can teach. So I will have Kenzie post that for you so that you guys can see. I think you have that, right? Okay, so Kenzie will post that for you because there's a ton of different ideas of ways that you can teach classes. The most important things that you can tell them in a class, honestly, are make sure that you talk about the quality of essential oils. I think that is like a number one. You have to talk about certified pure therapeutic grade, and then, just pick a couple of oils to talk about. When I'm talking about oils in my class, I don't stick just to the family physician oils or home essentials. I'll never get that right. But I don't stick to just those 10 oils, because if I only talk about those 10 oils, then that's all they need, right? That's what they think about. So plus, if you talk about all 10 oils, then you're going to go way over your 45 minutes. So I usually talk about, so sometimes in the beginning of the class, I'll ask them, especially in a small group, I'll ask them what they're hoping to learn, or what their major health concerns are, like one top health concern that they have. And I'll tell you what they usually are. They usually include Deep Blue, they usually include Breathe, and they usually include Balance. So those 3 oils for sure you're going to talk about. It doesn't matter what oils you talk about. Just make sure that you incorporate, if you're going to talk about the family physician oils, make sure that you bring in a couple of extras like past tense or balance, or just something a little bit different, so that they can see that they need to purchase something besides just the family physician kit. That's another way that you can help to get them to add on to the loyalty rewards order for next month too. So at the end of the class, I let them know that there are 3 different pathways that they can choose to participate or purchase 3 different ways. Number 1, they can just buy retail if they want to. The most intelligent way to purchase is with your own membership or your own account. And when you purchase your own account, it's only $35 for your membership fee, or it's waived if you purchase one of these packages. Now, when I go over the packages, I just choose 3 to talk about is all. They can see clearly there's a lot more than 3. And I just tell them I want to share my 3 favorites with you. And I'll tell you something that I started doing that is uncomfortable for some, but it's really beneficial. For some people, the diamond package is a really great place to start. So I tell them, you can start with the diamond kit if you would like to, the diamond package. This one has everything that you'll ever need. And if your family has a lot of health concerns, this might be a really great place for you to start. Then I just share with them, my very favorite package is the Natural Solutions. That's probably the one I spend the most time on because it is my favorite. It's $550. It also, I love it that it's a fast track package. So if they purchase this one and then they purchase on our frequent flyer program next month, they also get 100 free product points. So I just kind of touch on loyalty rewards. I don't go deep into it. I just say we have what's called the loyalty rewards program, and it's like a frequent flyer card. So you earn extra product for whatever you're purchasing. And you get free shipping and all kinds of stuff. So I just kind of throw those things out there. And then when I'm working one-on-one with them, I share a little bit more. And then when you have the membership overview with them next week, in a few days, once they get their package, then you're going to go even deeper with them because they're not going to remember anything you say when they get home. So just touch lightly on those things. That'll help to keep your class at a good time frame too. We're not withholding information from them, okay? So don't feel like you're trying to withhold information from them. We're just giving them the drips that they need at that moment so that they're not totally, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but sometimes when we give people too much information, they just completely shut off and they don't want anything. It kind of creates a wall. So just give them just enough information. But I always tell them my very favorite package is the Natural Solutions package. It comes with a diffuser, my personal favorite diffuser. It comes with the Lifelong Vitality vitamins. Doesn't it still? Yes, it just is. Oh, it is pictured. It was hidden. Sorry. I'm like, is it gone? It's not gone. It comes with On Guard products. So if they, this is just a really great family package. And then I also share with them, the other two packages I usually share with them are the family, or it used to be the Home Essentials, but now I really like the Family Wellness package. But the Home Essentials kit comes with a diffuser, so that's another good one to share with them. And then the Family Essentials package is a great place to start. And I always kind of say, if it's just you or if it's just a couple of you in your home, the Family Essentials kit is a great place to start. But if there's more than just a couple of you in your home, you're going to find that that's a great sampler pack. It's a great starter pack, but you're going to run out of things that you use all the time, like lavender and peppermint and lemon, next week. I mean, my house, 5 milliliter lavender, lemon, and peppermint do not last. So if they purchase a little bit bigger package in the beginning, then they can purchase new oils next month rather than having to refill the ones, that they got in their Family Essentials package. So that's kind of how I do that. And then I let them know that the three pathways are, you can just use these oils. You can totally be a closet user. You can use them in your closet and never tell another soul that you're doing it. It's totally fine. My husband said that we had to be closet users when I started using oils. He just said, please don't ever tell our friends what we're doing. And I couldn't stop telling my friends. So I wasn't a very good closet user, but I was one for a minute. So you can totally just be a closet user and be a consumer and just purchase these for yourself. Number 2, maybe you love having a party. Maybe you love free stuff, and maybe you'd like to get some essential oils for free. Maybe you're sitting here and you're thinking of some of your friends or family members that really could benefit from essential oils. That's our second pathway, and we call you shares. And so just let me know, if that's you. The third pathway is that you can build a business with this. And then I let them know that, this is what I do full time, and my time is my time, and my husband is home with me, and my husband is probably home hanging out with my kids right now. And my husband travels with me, and, we get to live literally the dream life because we built a business with this. So wherever you're at in those 3 pathways, if you'll just write that number 1, 2, or 3 on the top of your membership page before you hand that in to me tonight, that'll really help me. And it doesn't matter if that changes. You might feel like you're a closet user right now and decide in a couple of months that you want to be a business builder. It doesn't really matter. All that number is for is to help me know how to best support you. Because when we finish this class, if I don't know, where you're at, and I think maybe you would be the best business builder I'd ever met, and I start calling you every couple of days just to check in on you and see how you're doing, and hey, what can we do to get this going? If that's not where you're at, maybe you're the closet user, you're going to go into witness protection, you're going to stop answering my calls, and maybe put out a restraining order. On the other hand, if you are that business builder and I'm treating you like the closet user and I'm calling you once a month or sending you a message once a month just to let you know about continuing education classes, you're going to feel really unsupported. So all that number does is it just helps me to know how to best help you so that you get the very best support. So anyway, and then I just tell them thank you so much for coming and ask them if they have any questions. Oh, I forgot a most important thing. Okay, so once that part is done, it's important that you schedule classes the night of the class. If you're not scheduling more classes, your business dies, okay? So it's important to have dates on your calendar ready to go. They don't even have to be filled, but just know, oh, I have next Thursday night open, or I have next Tuesday night open. And then when you are giving them those options, just give them 2 options to choose from. You don't need to give them your whole, I have 3 months ahead of me available. Which one do you want? Just give them like within a couple of weeks, okay? Because that's the best way to capture. The quicker you can get that on the book and scheduled in, the less likely they are to cancel. The further out they schedule, the more likely they are to cancel. So just keep that in mind when you're booking. And then I told you I love to give things away. So I love to do drawings, and prize drawing slips are a really great way to also get contacts that are not in the class. So of course in the class you can do things like, you can have a really fun prize drawing slip where it has questions on it if they want to host a class, and then when they turn it in, you're like, oh my gosh, Susie wants to host a class, you get an extra ticket, right? So you can do things like that if you want to. What I love the reason I put this on here is as a reminder for me to tell you that when you're out at the grocery store, I get a lot of contacts at the grocery store. I spend a lot of time at the grocery store. When I'm at the grocery store in the checkout line and I'm talking to that new person who doesn't know me yet, and I don't want to ask for their contact information because that's just weird. I can, if we're talking about oils, I can just say, oh my gosh, you know what? I do a drawing every week. Would you like to enter? And then you can give them that little drawing slip. And I should have grabbed mine, but mine is just literally a little tiny notebook like this with the key ring on it that I kind of clip on the inside of my purse so I can always find it in that pit. And I just rip it out and I have them fill out their information on there for me. And then on Friday, I call everybody that entered and every person wins. Okay, so that's how that happens. And that's a really great way that you can ask for their contact information. But that kind of stuff happens it really helps in a class too, to kind of get excitement going. It's just everybody likes to win stuff. So, and it doesn't have to be big stuff. It doesn't have to be big oils. You can just make a little blend or give them a little, 10 drops of Serenity or something. They'll be super excited about it. So whatever you're doing for your giveaways is totally fine. Just remember to make your class fun so that they want to come back for more. And then I think it's really important to share your story. That's what we do, right? We share why we use essential oils, but keep your story short and passionate. Pull out all the best parts of your story so that it's not 45 minutes long, just your story. Okay. I'm terrible at that. Like I have a lot to say all the time and I have a story for everything. So I always have to remember to kind of train myself back in. But remember to share your story because that is what doTERRA is all about. This is another one of my favorite pictures because this is really what's happening. Sometimes you're gonna get to the class where it's just you and the host, right? And it's gonna be crappy, but you're gonna make the very best of it anyway, and you're still gonna have a class with her because that's how you learn and that's how you grow. And it was perfectly orchestrated and the best situation for you. So even when I have driven to Nebraska and had nobody show up at a class but me and the host, I still work. I still make it count, because it may just, I don't know if you guys have heard that story about Dr. Hill and Justin flying to Alaska and only one person came. Dr. Hill, you guys. So it happens even to Dr. Hill. So just know that like a year later, this is what that picture looked like. What's really happening isn't always obvious. Sometimes great heights require vast support before even the tiniest sprout is visible. So I just want to share one more little thing about this with you. This Wellness Prosperity Summit that I did this presentation for was out in Fresno. And Marie Cottam and I did Diamond Club together. Well, not together, but we did Diamond Club at the same time. And we both had teams going on the opposite sides of Fresno. She was on one end and I was on the other end. And so we had this brilliant idea that we would get together. We rented, we paid like $600 for this room, right? To rent a huge ballroom, okay, that we were going to have this amazing turnout. This was 5 years ago, remember? People didn't even know about doTERRA in California yet. We were teaching them. It was like the beginning for these people. Anyway, I think we had like 12 people show up, and I promise you, like 9 of them were mine. And I'm just teasing. We kind of always joke about that. But I remember feeling a little bit defeated, because here we had this huge room and we were so passionate about what we were doing. And this picture is what it looked like. That little tiny sprout up at the very top. We had showed up and our leaders had shown up and a few other people had shown up. Well, this Wellness Prosperity Summit that we just did together in just a few months ago, there were 200 people there in that same area. It wasn't in the same place. But Marie and I both stood there and just cried, because we both were having the same memory at the same time, that where we were 5 years ago with 12 people there, and now look, this worked. And here was the best part about that. That weekend was a really bad weekend for people. So we only had just a little bit of our teams there. We didn't even pack the house like we knew we could, because it was just crazy time of year. And but it worked. And I remember that day, that was just another reminder to me that what we are doing is working. So get out and teach those classes. And even if it's just to one person, know that it's all taking root and it's going to explode. And this is exactly what your organization is going to look like down below in a year or 2 years or 5 years from now. It'll just be explosive. So anyway, you guys are amazing. Thank you for listening to me tonight, and for taking this in and take what is important to you and what can help change, your business. And anyway, thank you.
I told you she was awesome. Did you guys just love that?
I tried really hard to keep it shorter than an hour, but there's a lot of stuff.
I could listen to you forever.
You're so nice. Thank you, Romy.
I learned. I took notes. I learned. I think that's one of the things to remember, is that we always need to be teachable. Always. But I learn every time from you. So I really, really appreciate you being with us.
Thank you. And we're just about to start our class, so we're going to leave here.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Come on. You gotta have questions. Somebody.
That's good. That means I covered everything, right?
That's right.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I mean, it's just a lot to process. So I'm going to have to listen to this, not just once, but probably 2 or 3 more times. But it's that good. It's worth it,
Thank you. You know what? It took me a long, it took me a lot of classes to pull all of those things together.
I believe it.
The perfect class. So
Yeah, but you did great. You really did great.
thank you.
Welcome.
Iris here, Amber, and hello there. I really like your idea of the giveaways every Friday, because I've given it out my card and things at the grocery store and maybe a deep blue sample, but to have that extra way of luring them in is really a good thing. And so I'm going to start doing that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You know what? And the giveaway can be really easy. I usually give away like a little wellness consult, and so we can do that over the phone, and I will just kind of tailor a sample package for them and then deliver it to them. So it's not even a big giveaway. I'm really just giving them samples. They
Right.
just did the giveaway and they won.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for you, Amber.
Sure.
Can you go over or just restate one more time how you bring about a close, and a close for two things, a booking of a class and, do you want to purchase without, being that salesy? We were screaming about the election and I missed that whole chunk.
Okay, so it starts in the beginning. Did you see the beginning part? Where
Yeah, I saw the whole thing. I just missed
Okay.
the part about actually like making a close, and then 'cause one of the problems that I have is that I cannot seem to book classes off of my classes, and I think that I come with such sweaty palms that it's off-putting, like an eager date, that you're just like, ew, what? Why are they so eager? So it's a hang up I have. I'm not nailing it, and so I would love some insight on how to close it without looking like you're just grateful to be there.
So my best trick for booking classes is bribery. Bribery always works. It's something that I've used for a long, long time. And I always have, my goal is always 2 classes off of every class that I do, right? Because in my mind, like, kind of the rule of thumb that I've always gone with is 2 classes a week until you reach your goal, right? You can do more than that if you want to, but at least 2 classes a week keeps you steady. And there are a lot of times when I have a lot more than 2 classes a week. So I always come with 2 classes a week in mind, and I come with 2 or 3 good gifts that I'll give them. And it's usually something it doesn't have to be extravagant, okay? It can be like a roller bottle with, you can pick your own oils to put in my roller bottle or in your roller bottle, right? Or something like that, where it's, half filled with coconut oil, and then they can put in some drops and then whatever. So they're making an owie oil or something like that. It can just be, so something really simple, but I always have something cool that I know that they're going to want that they can't necessarily purchase from their doTERRA order. So you can put some samples of oils there if you want to, but I really, and I'll usually do that, but with some other little, like a fun little goodie bag of some sort that's usually AromaTools stuff that only costed me $5 or less. So I always have, those goodie bags, and I let them know when they're, when we're filling out the drawing tickets or whatever, hey, we're going to do this drawing. And I have 2 special gifts for the first 2 people who book their class tonight. And also I'll bribe them with extra tickets into the drawing. So they're like more likely to win, but I find that bribery works the very best for getting classes on your calendar. And if you make it fun, and if you're not afraid of it, I think, whatever we're putting out there to them, that's one of the reasons why I teach the class the way I do, because I had some big hangups. I didn't want to be a salesman. I didn't want to, I didn't even know what network marketing was for a long time. And then when I found out it was like Amway, I was totally stressed out. So then, there were just all of these things, and then I could never ask for the sell. And so all of my wording, that was something I really practiced for a long time. And once I got that down, it just feels so much better to me. Like, it's so much easier for me to say those things. So I know that because it's become natural and easy for me, it doesn't sound like, all the things I was worried about before, like being pushy or asking them to purchase from me or whatever, all of that went away. And I'll tell you one other little secret is, and this really like changed my whole view about the membership, is think about why you purchased a membership. It is the best deal. It really is the very best deal for you, and it is the very best deal for them. And once you get that in your head, I think all of those hangups go away, because now you're like, this is the best deal. You guys are my friends, and I want you to have the best deal, right? So once you feel passionate about all of that, those sweaty palms will go away, and the stress will go away. But I would say even just make yourself up some scripts and practice beforehand so that you get comfortable with saying those things too. Does that make sense? The more comfortable you get, the more often you do it, the easier it will all be. The reason it sounds like it rolls off of my tongue is because I've done it a million times. But my first class was bad.
I think that practicing is going to end up being a key for me. You're right. I actually took like verbatim notes the last time you taught a class. Like I wrote everything down that you said, like it was the word. And so, but then I had a big class and I was like studying the notes so hard at the last minute. And I was like, this is not coming naturally to me. So you're right. And I think you're absolutely right that I need to spend some time maybe looking in the mirror and talking to myself and imagining how I would say it. Because it's not natural. And I think it was Callie had said something a couple weeks ago about, trying to shove someone else's words into your mouth. And so, and that's essentially what I was trying to do, because I loved what you had said and it just resonated with me so much. And I was like, it's going to resonate with everyone else. And then it just sounded like I said, just sweaty palms and stuttering. And so I didn't look convinced at all of what I was saying after all of that. When I was trying to, as soon as it closed, my confidence just bottomed right out. So I will do that. I will practice it because I get it and I totally believe in it. I'm just not conveying it. And I think that that's probably a big part of the hang up, is letting it flow out of me rather than trying to shove someone else's words into my mouth at the last minute.
So that's why one of the things I said at the very beginning, you probably caught it, was pick out what resonates with you and what works with you, and then put all of that together. And a couple other things one other thing that will really help you, it'll help all of you, it helped me a lot, is just paying attention to your body language when you're at the class. Remember that when your feet are firmly planted on the ground and you're standing kind of at attention, which is sometimes kind of uncomfortable, that is a place where people trust you. You are standing firm in what you are sharing with them. And that made a really big difference for me. That was one thing that when I started, doing those closing moments in my class, just paying attention to what my body language was. And before, it was because I was unsure and I felt nervous about sharing that. I don't know what I was, we're just afraid of judgment. That's all we're afraid of, is that they're going to think we're weird. And now we want them to spend a lot of money. Once you take yourself out of the whole equation and again, understand and really feel that, hey, I am doing you a favor. Like I am so doing you a favor. You don't even know what kind of favor I'm doing for you right now, teaching you this, right? This is going to change your world. When you can be firm and planted in that, when you share all of that, you will convey that message to them and they will feel that power within too. Does that make sense? Like they will. So if you're standing there and you're wiggling around and you're on one foot and you're kind of dancing around, they know that you're nervous. If you're pacing, they know that you're nervous. So if at no other time when you're talking about the membership and you are talking about the best deal for them and the program, you stand firm. Do whatever you can. Don't put your hands in your pockets. I hold my paper because I have nervousness. I have to do something with my hands or I have to be moving. So if I'm holding my paper, then I keep my hands occupied. So they're not hiding behind my back or hiding in my pocket. So even just that body language trick is a really powerful one that can help change the presentation of your words.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amber, do you give your if for the hostesses and that, when they're going to book a class, do you give them that gift when they book it or when they actually hold their class? Because wouldn't there be more of a opportunity for them to just get that gift and book that class but then cancel later on?
Yes, but I don't care. I don't care. They're more likely to, and that's why I give things that are inexpensive. And usually if they take my gift and then cancel a class, they still rebook a class with me because they have a little bit of guilt. And if they don't, it's totally fine. It was $5, right? But I spoil my hostesses, and especially if they're a sharer, right? If they're not building a business, it's a little bit different. I treat them the same, but I make sure to also take a gift to my host at the beginning and present it to her at the beginning of the class too, so that all the people there see, oh, look, she gets this extra free thing because she's hosting this class. I want to get that. And I make a big deal about my host. I'm so grateful for her, and this is so exciting, and she's so fun to work with. And you know what? So I make a really big deal about them just so that they feel special and important. And that also shows the other attendees that it's going to be a fun relationship, that we're going to be working together, and I'm going to give you free stuff, and it's going to be fun, and you're going to be treated really well for doing this. So you're not just doing me a favor, but I'm helping you out too. And it's a little different. It's not a Tupperware party, so they're not earning a ton of hostess benefits. But I do things, if I do have someone who is just hosting for me, and maybe they're a wellness advocate, but they really don't want to build, I'll give them a percentage of the sales from the class. So I'll still put those people under them, but I'll keep the enrollments, and then I'll just give them a percentage of the sales, so that, because they're going to decide that they want to build. And so then I can still turn those people over to them, and they're not scattered somewhere else. That's just kind of my little trick. I keep them together. And then I still give them equivalent of, I give them 20% of whatever is purchased at the class. Generally, they're my enrollment anyway, so that's fast start money. And I'll offer them, if they would rather have the fast start money, I'll give them that 20% cash instead. But most always they take the product. They'd rather have the product. So, I don't care if they take my gift home, and that's another reason why I book them within the 2 weeks, because if you book them within 2 weeks, they don't cancel usually. It's when you push them out till next month that I already know, when they start telling me, well, it's really busy, and maybe next month, well, maybe in December. I'm just like, okay, they're so not going to hold this class. So you can tell.
So do you go in with the intent of telling, I only have these next 2 weeks that I'm booking classes, and don't even give them the option past 2 weeks?
Right. Okay. Yep. I don't even say I really don't even say that. I just say, these are the dates I have available. So, and I just give them a couple of different random dates,
Okay.
And yeah.
Thank you.
It usually works. If one of those dates isn't good for them, then we can do another one, right? I have other dates on my calendar. I just go with, this is what I have right now. Would one of these work for you? And by presenting it that way, it kind of puts like, people think I am always busy. And I'm not. I have plenty of my own free time. But whatever I'm conveying when I say, okay, I only have this time available, now they're really respectful of my time, and that this is all she's got. I got to take one of these. So anyway, it's kind of awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're going to stop the recording now. And then if you guys have questions afterwards, I don't want the recording to have to go too long for the people that are going to re-listen. But so again, thank you for this, Amber. I think that this is a recording that I will use to share with new people. I think it's great to have in the arsenal for education purposes, just for the training. So
thanks, Romy.